Dictation will start abruptly after 5 seconds. We deem it necessary and appropriate to briefly refer to the history of the law relating to works contracts. Entry 54 in list second of the 7th schedule to the Constitution of India enables the state legislature to enact legislation providing for levying and collecting tax in respect of the sale and purchase of goods. Article 286 of the Constitution prohibits the state legislatures from imposing tax on the sale or purchase of goods where such sale or purchase takes place outside the state or in the course of the import of the goods into or export of the goods out of the territory of India. The scope and ambit of the powers of the states to levy sales tax on goods involved in the execution of works contracts have been the subject matter of several judicial pronouncements. The decision of this court in State of Madras versus Gannon Dunkerley and Company reported in 1958 is the leading case on the subject. That was a case where the assessee's business primarily consisted of executing contracts for the construction of buildings, bridges, dams, roads, and other structural projects. During the relevant assessment year under consideration, sales tax was levied under the Madras General Sales Tax Act 1939 on the value of materials used by the assessee in execution of the works contracts. The assessee questioned the levy of sales tax on the ground that there was no sale of goods as understood in India and therefore no sales tax could be levied on any portion of the amount which was received by the assessee from the persons for whose benefit it had constructed buildings. The Constitution bench of this court held in a building contract where the agreement between the parties was that the contractor should construct the building according to the specifications contained in the agreement and in consideration received payment as provided therein. There was neither a contract to sell the materials used in the construction nor the property passed therein as movables. It was held that in a building contract, which is one entire and indivisible contract, there was no sale of goods and it was not within the competence of the provincial state legislature to impose tax on the supply of the materials used in such a contract, treating it as a sale under the agreement between the parties. In a building contract, the title to the materials used in the construction passes to the owner of the land as an accretion, and there is no question of title to the materials passing as movables in favor of the other party to the contract. The expression sale of goods in entry 48 in list second of the 7th schedule to the Government of India Act 1935 must be construed in the same sense it has been understood under the Sale of Goods Act 1930 and to constitute sale of goods The essential ingredients are A. There should be an agreement to sell movables. B. It should be for a price. And C. There should be passing of goods pursuant to the agreement. Thus, by virtue of this court's decision in Gannon Dunkerley, no sales tax could be levied on the amounts received under a works contract by a building contractor, even though it had supplied goods for the construction of the building. The decision of this court in Gannon Dunkerley was applied in various other decisions wherein courts were dealing with the issue of transfer of goods in execution of works contracts. One such example is the case of Northern India Caterers India Limited versus Lieutenant Governor of Delhi reported in this case. This court held that there was no sale when food and drink were supplied to guests residing in a hotel, and that the supply of meals was essentially in the nature of a service provided to the guests and could not be identified as a transaction of sale. This court declined to accept the position that the revenue was entitled to split up the transaction into two parts, one of service and the other of the sale of food items. Accordingly, the proprietor of the restaurant, who provided many services in addition to the supply of food, was not liable to pay sales tax on the value of the goods supplied by him. A summary of the position of law with regard to taxation of goods transferred in execution of works contracts before the enactment of the 46th Amendment is as one. Works contracts are indivisible, that is, the revenue could not split a single works contract into two, one pertaining to the provision of goods and another pertaining to the provision of services. Second, to constitute sale, all ingredients as mentioned under the Act 1930 had to be fulfilled. And third, to determine whether a particular contract was a works contract or a contract for sale, the dominant nature of the contract was looked into on a fact specific basis via the terms and conditions of contract and other related aspects to overcome the effect of various judicial decisions.